Looks like we got everybody here. Cool. Hey everyone, it's Marcus from NEAR Foundation here, also joined by Benz as co-host. Thank you all so much for joining the spaces today. Huge apologies for having to reschedule last minute when Twitter Spaces was down on Friday. And with holidays as well as end of year upon us, we really appreciate you taking the time to be here. Following the previous Twitter Spaces held on the NEAR Foundation account, the majority vote for this next topic was NEAR Wallet. And with the recent communications put out on NEAR's update and outlook going into 2023, this Spaces will be around NEAR's go-forward strategy. So today we are joined by Ilya, the co-founder of NEAR, Alex Kioki, Chief Product Officer at Pagoda, Jane Wang, Product Manager at Pagoda, focused on wallets and developer tools, and Trenton Bergeron, Technical Program Manager at Pagoda. So I'll go ahead and kick it over to Ilya as well as the speakers for introductions.
For sure. Thanks, Marcus, for kicking this off. Well, thanks everyone for joining. It's hopefully in maybe a few months we're gonna transition to a Web3 spaces that's decentralized and unkillable. But hang on for a few months on this more legacy version. So we're gonna dive into your questions. There's obviously wallet and kind of a lot of related stuff, and I'll let Jane, Trenton, and Alex to introduce themselves in a second. But before that, I just wanted to give like a super quick overview and a little bit more emphasis on the kind of going forward blog post that was published. So high level, obviously there's been a lot of turmoil in the market. And even without that, I think since NearCon, we kind of, as an ecosystem, been thinking a lot, what can we improve and how we can focus more. And, it is time for focus and conviction. It's really time to kind of push the envelope forward, because I think at this point, the kind of level field is there, right? We have the technology, we have kind of the solid ecosystem, we have the kind of really good fundamentals built. But at the same time, we don't have yet, like the Web3 promise that we all kind of got excited about, the ability to control, everything in your life, being able to have your assets, you have the data, right? We're still not there. We're still not really, we're still using Web2 platform right now to talk with the community. We're still using Twitter to publish tweets. We're still in Slack to do communications. So we're still not there to kind of the full vision that we all envisioned. And so like this is where kind of revisiting what we are aiming for and what products and kind of how this all been built is really important. Just kind of as a recap for the last year, I mean, it's been an amazing year. We grew 10x almost on every metric. There's over 600,000 monthly active wallets with having at least 2 transactions. Like user base grew, 10, 15x. And by the way, there's 1 million followers on NEAR protocol, which is amazing. Congrats to the team that's been pushing really hard to get there. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of amazing people. Like, I'm just looking at the audience here. There's like really cool people who've been building on NEAR, who've been contributing. So first of all, hey everyone. So we have really great fundamentals. We also never been, your next, rotation chain where you're gonna have, your TVL move from one place to another to then move to the third thing, right? We never kind of really focused on TVL. We always focused on users and real use cases, not on hype. And, how do we make it seamless? How do we make it more composable? How do we make it easier to use? So our kind of overall strategy continues to be focusing on users. And so I've mentioned this at the first NearCon that we want to hit 1 billion users in 5 years. That's still the goal, and we should continue aiming. But something more manageable right now for next year, we planning to hit 10 million monthly actives, right? So kind of a little bit over 10x growth over where we are now. And so to do that, there's kind of few approaches, right? So NEAR Foundation takes its approach, and it's kind of two-sided approach, top down and bottom and grassroots. So top down is kind of hunting for partnerships and kind of connecting with brands and projects and growth stage startups who already have users and business models and bringing them to Web3, right? And specifically, they focus on sports, entertainment, loyalty programs, and we've seen some really cool partnerships that came out of that already. And the story there is really like how to get more users. Well, let's find places where users are already and make it really easy and valuable for them to start using blockchain in various ways. And because NEAR is easier to use, is easier to build on, to onboard, we have a very kind of unique proposition that goes beyond just making a flashy announcement, but actually launching something really cool that works, and that people don't come back around complaining about everything being down. The grassroots approach, though, is about pretty much empowering community, right? So there was a lot of questions over the past couple of months around like, hey, it's not very transparent on decisions that foundation is making, which is completely true. And that was a very, kind of during past, end of last year, beginning of this year, it was about kind of speed. And so foundation was making a lot of decisions, trying to become quicker and quicker at funding. Now, instead of speed, the goal is kind of both transparency and community engagement. And so a lot of the funding decision, if not most, will move out from foundation into DAOs, right? So there's already a developer DAO and developer governance that are setting up a structure such that if you want to build open source components, if you want to build something that will fund, maintain or build something that other people will use, but it's not designed to be for profit, the developer governance and developer DAO is where to go. And if you haven't seen, they have a really cool dashboard where you can submit ideas and also, sponsor things, and also say that you will build it and get sponsorships, etc. There's marketing DAO, which is responsible for pretty much scaling up marketing beyond what kind of NEAR Foundation branding, but actually, grassroots, engaging community, engaging people around the world. And there's a creative DAO, which is supposed to engage more creative ways to build and use blockchain. And it also actually a DAO of DAOs, right? So it's funding other DAOs to fund it, to fund specific initiatives. So kind of overall, the idea is instead of foundation being this gatekeeper that folks feel, not very transparent, and it's never going to be because it's not on chain, is actually to move all those decisions on chain and have people around the community to participate. So if you want to participate and you're not yet in these DAOs, you can find them across the governance forum and AstroDAO. And through all of this, the NEAR Foundation will transition more to focus on accelerator. So instead of being kind of the forefront, right, where all the projects go, these projects will go to these DAOs, and Foundation will help projects that did get funded either by DAOs or by VCs or by somebody else, and then provide them with materials, kind of what Marco's been doing, as well as some more hands-on advice for like legal hiring, tech, UX, etc. And then probably connect with external partners who there is an abundance of now in the ecosystem to help with this. So kind of overall, that's the foundation side, right? This is where, top-down partnerships, grassroots through the community, and then accelerator as a way to kind of continue helping the projects that are building on NEAR. And then on the other side is where Pagoda's been focusing more and more is on kind of product story, right? So Pagoda being one major contributor to the protocol, major contributor to a lot of the developer tooling. They build a developer platform, and so going forward, right? The idea is as developer DAO ramps up, a lot of the maintenance of the repositories of the kind of open source code base will transition there. And Pagoda will be actually one of the contributors, right? The people who work at Pagoda will be contributing and doing some of the tasks that developer governance will identify. There's a lot of work groups that Pagoda is already participating in. But more importantly, it's focusing on kind of how to bring and attract kind of this two-sided market of users and developers. And kind of it coalesces around this idea of discovery, which we're going to be talking more. But just to kind of high level describe to you is like the idea that you want to make it really easy for developers to not just build kind of experiences, which I would say NEAR in general is probably one of the easiest places in Web3, but actually acquire users, right? And for that, you need something that's more of a platform than just a place to build your applications, right? Heroku doesn't give you the ability to acquire users, right? It just gives you the backend that you can launch your stuff. But if you think of what Facebook was originally, or WeChat, is like this is a place where you can actually acquire users because they can discover your apps, they can see what their friends are using, etc. And so a lot of it will be social, a lot of it will be creative, a lot of it will be about developers building new experiences, and all kind of coming together in a composable way. And that's what kind of on a higher level we call blockchain operating system, is all of these pieces, layers of blockchain protocol, the developer platform, the data platform, and discovery coming together into a single system. So that's kind of the going forward. There's obviously a lot of things to come in early next year as some of this actually gets more and more refined, and there's actually first things coming through this. So stay tuned. I'll hand it over to Alex to introduce himself, and we can switch to questions as well.
Hey, thanks, Ilya. Hey, folks. So excited to be here on my first NEAR AMA. So I just joined Pagoda to work with Ilya and the awesome team there about, let's say, 2 days ago now, something like that. So freshly joined. Really just telling a little bit about my background. Prior to joining NEAR ecosystem, I was at Kraken Exchange. I was the VP of product there. And I have some experience prior to that in Web 2, working at LinkedIn and some social networks. So, super excited to work with Ilya on this vision. And when we think about NEAR discovery, I mean, we really want it to be an awesome platform, not for just developers to find their users, but for people to find opportunity in this new digital economy that is being pieced together through the Web3 blockchain communities at large. So we think there's like a really big opportunity for people to be able to potentially augment their income and find great groups to work with, just using their cell phone and a mobile browser. But happy to get more into that with questions. But yeah, again, super thrilled to be here.
All right, Jane, do you want to go?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name's Jane. I'm the product manager at Pagoda, focusing on wallets and user onboarding. So I'm really excited to be here and see what 2023 brings and the innovations on NEAR discovery. So first, I just want to thank the community, the wallet community, for building on NEAR. And it's just been a tremendous year seeing what the wallets are building and see the growth in the wallet community and the engagement in our community discussions. So big thank you. And I know many of you guys have questions about wallets. So Trenton and I are here to answer your questions at this AMA. Yeah.
Trenton, you want to just quickly introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name's Trenton. I'm a technical program manager at Pagoda, and I've been helping to manage the deliverables for the wallet transition, the wallet experience project. And I'm really excited to be here. This is my first one. I'm fairly new to blockchain, but I've been learning a lot, been in this software space for about 20 years. So I'm learning a lot of stuff, and I really enjoy the community aspect of what we're building.
Amazing. Thank you all for the introductions, as well as for taking the time to be here on this Spaces with us today. To everyone here, if you haven't already, please have a read through the full blog post titled NEAR Strategic Update and Outlook for 2023, as mentioned by Ilya, which you can find on the NEAR official blog and also right on the front page of the NEAR.org website at the time of this Twitter Spaces. So I'm going to go ahead and open the floor to any questions around the topic for about the next, say, 25, 30 minutes. And then I'll hand it over to Benz to address some of the really good written questions that were also submitted by the community. So it looks like we have a couple of requests already for speakers. So I'm going to go ahead and invite up Ashen One, who's requested to be speaker. You can go ahead. I think the floor is yours. Hey, if you're speaking, we're not able to hear you. Might be a little bit of technical issues there, so we'll go ahead and bring up somebody else. It looks like Titan, the People's DGen, has requested to speak, so I'll go ahead and bring them up. All right, there you go.
Hey everyone, can everyone hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you perfectly.
Yeah, I mean, thanks to Ilya and Benz for coming online. Shout out to David for introducing me to NEAR over a year and a half ago, actually. And what we're working on is a project called Smashverse. We're essentially a Web3 gaming project backed by NEAR. Really excited for the 2023 vision that you guys have set out, Ilya. It'd be super helpful to better understand what's your kind of strategy for NFTs on NEAR? Is that a medium that you want to see kind of growing within the ecosystem, or do you feel like actually NEAR, is that never, supposed to be kind of an NFT focused kind of chain, and it's meant to be more about other applications of Web3?
Yeah, so it's a good question. I mean, for me, NFTs, first and foremost, it's ownable data, right? And our vision in general is that, people should own their data. So NFTs is clearly aligns with our vision. From perspective of, what is a strategy, I think there is few levels. One of this is there's a number of NFT marketplaces and NFT projects in the ecosystem, which are kind of doing a ton of work, right? And NEAR actually was one of the first places where NFT standard included, for example, royalties, and it has extensions, and you can do a lot of stuff. And all of this work was done by NFT marketplaces, like it was Minbase and Paras actually spearheading a lot of their work early on. And kind of through those like partnerships pretty much in the ecosystem, I think this is how a lot of projects going forward going to be kind of innovating in the NFT market. And both Paras and Minbase have their versions of kind of grants and accelerator program. I know Few and Far has a launchpad, and I'm sure like some of the other projects have their own ways to engage with kind of newly coming partnershis. At the same time, I think, again, as I said, for me, NFTs is a tool, right? It's not a it's like, saying, what do we think about using machine learning? It's like, yes, we should use machine learning. The question is where and how. And so I think there's a lot of use cases that haven't been used One of the cool things to highlight is at the meta build, somebody built a way to convert NEAR accounts into NFTs, so they actually can be traded directly on the NFT marketplaces. So I think kind of the more we can use NFTs and the more they can be engaged and kind of surfaced and across the ecosystem, the better, right? NEAR.social again is a really cool place where you can use it for PFP, but even beyond that, right, it can be now used for some reputation, for there's soulbound, there's badges, there's kind of all this other stuff that's been evolving there. So from my perspective, again, amazing tool that's clearly aligned with the general vision. NEAR has one of the best NFT standards in the industry, and which can be continuously adjusted with extensions. There's really cool. There's a lot of cool work done by NFT marketplaces, including on a kind of business development funding side. There's Creatives DAO, which designated to be funding other DAOs that I'm sure will be funding various NFT efforts. So yeah, looking forward how that evolves in 23.
Awesome. Thanks, Ilya. It was really, really helpful.
Amazing, and thank you for coming up here. We have a few other requests to speak as well. I think Ziwa wants to come up and speak. I'll go ahead and grant them the floor. All right, the floor is yours.
Yeah. Am I audible enough?
Hey, we can hear you loud and clear.
Yeah. I have a question for Jane. The Web3, in general and at the moment, and NEAR, because I'm a very big fan and user of NEAR organization. I love NEAR so much. I'm really grateful that introduced me to NEAR. Like, I want to know, like, the way things are going now, like, people, even the new users that are trying to, move from the Web2 space down to the Web3 space are having a certain glitch in their mind because, they're just coming up, to get to know about something, and all of a sudden, bad things are, like the bear market is suddenly, traversing from A to Z. So, what should be the focus?
Hi, thanks for the question. So if I understand correctly, the question is, like onboarding users from Web 2 to Web 3 and then the innovations in this space. So yeah, like in the wallet space specifically, we're going to work on fast auth with meta transactions. And so this will be like an authentication service where it's much simplified user onboarding. And we're looking to do that for the next 100
Did anyone
million.
get my question?
Sorry. Sorry, like, is your question to onboard user from Web 2 to Web 3, I believe? Siwa?
Hey, Ziwa, it would be amazing if you could clarify a little bit. Was the question about onboarding Web 2 to Web 3? It looks like you're muted if you're trying to speak.
Well, okay, it seems like she was having some issues, so Siwa, please ask your question through the thread, and we will answer them. Like,
Am I audible now?
Yes, now you are.
Yes. I'm saying like we like I'm a big fan of NEAR organization. I started using NEAR for a while now. Yeah, for quite some months now that I've been on NEAR. Yeah, the thing is, I really want to ask this question specifically. The question goes to Jane. And with the way the entire thing is now in the Web3 space, the Web3 space is a space that is trying to get its stand, trying to bring more people down to the space, and with the way the don't let me say the catastrophe in market entirely. So I want to know, like, what should be the the optimal priority for the first quarter of 2023 for bringing in Web3 users down to Web3, to enable it, become something that is very, very, simple, that that will be user friendly. So basically, that's what my question is about.
Okay, so for the priority for Q1 2023 to onboard users, that's your question. So we're working on meta transactions. So these are transactions where you can delegate to be paid by a third party. So in this case, user could simply create an account on a NEAR wallet, and they don't necessarily have to fund the account through like a link drop or through exchanges where they need to buy NEAR. And also we're working on a simplified auth onboarding process. So this is a onboarding where you don't need to create and remember your seed phrase. So those will be done entirely behind the scene. It'll be very similar to a Web2 logging process. And finally, we're working on a new composable environment where you can have a component framework for apps or wallet builders to use these components to build. So those are the three priorities for Q1. So meta transactions, quick onboarding through a simplified auth experience, and component framework.
Thank you, Jane. Ziwa, did that answer your question? Cool, heart emoji.
Can anyone hear
Yeah,
me?
we can hear you now. I just wanted to make sure did that answer your question, Ziwa?
Hello?
Looks like we're having some technical difficulties here.
Hello? Can anyone hear me?
Yeah, we could hear you fine, but it seems like you may not be able to hear us. So just with the limited time, Ziwa, if you want to ask your question written format, if that wasn't the answer you were looking for, I want to go ahead and make sure that we can call some more people up to the stage. So we have a couple other people here. We have Mega Kryptonite .eth. I'll bring you up to the stage so you can go ahead and ask your question.
Seems like he's having connection issues as well.
Yeah, it looks like there's connection issues. Okay, I'll go ahead and bring up Matthias Wald to come and ask a question. Yeah, it looks like some people are experiencing connection issues here. I feel like what we should do in the meantime, we do have some questions that are really important and pertinent to Mind Your Wallet. So we can probably address some of those questions that were asked in written format for now, and then if we have time left, we can go ahead and move back to live. So let me go ahead and pull up some questions that were asked. Somebody asked they want to stake on their ledger, but they don't want to use another wallet, just to use another wallet. So Ilya, do you want to address this one?
they want to stake with Ledger, but don't want to use it as a wallet. Well, so Ledger is where key management happening. So I think it's important to understand that wallet application key management doesn't always mean the same thing. So Ledger is where key management is happening, and you can use any front end you want, right? So you can use wallet.near.org, my Near Wallet, or any other front end that supports using Ledger to stake or do any other operations.
Okay. Thank you very much for addressing that. Looks like we have a few good ones here. We have somebody that asked if it will be possible to change the fiat currency displayed in the wallet. Jane, Ilya, Trent, do you want to go ahead and answer that?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So currently, the wallet only displays currencies in USD in the wallet.near.org. We have a number of wallets that's building the ecosystem, and some of them will be supporting localization for currencies. And this is a feature that we're considering going forward. It's a really good question. Thanks.
Yeah, it's definitely a good one. This is another good question as well. I'm sure it applies to a lot of people. And somebody asked, if and when will a transaction export, for example, CSV, be offered for reasons of holistic traceability and for taxes?
Yeah, so currently there's a few options in the ecosystem that you can export your transactions. So for example, there's one project on the ecosystem that's called NEAR.social.net, and there you can export your staking rewards. So that's one place I would look. And then also this is something that we can potentially explore in the wallet interface or the Explorer to export transactions. So yeah, like I would definitely suggest checking out NEAR.social.net and then enter your wallet address and check out that you can export the staking rewards there.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Jane, for answering that. There's one question. It's a little brief, but I think we can add some color here. I've seen this quite a bit actually in the ecosystem, but people are now asking if the primary wallet will be my Near Wallet or Near Wallet. Sure, in the push for decentralization, we can agree that we'd like a lot of wallets to be on Near, and there won't be one centralized wallet. But I'll also go ahead and let Ilya, Jane, or Trenton add some color here.
Yeah, I can take this. So we don't intend to have a quote unquote primary wallet. So the current state is the Near wallet has a predominant number of users. So throughout the wallet transition, we believe offering users the option to choose Near wallet or any other ecosystem wallets of their choice. So this is a part of our strategy to actually create the wallet selector library for dApps to integrate so that the users could choose a wallet of their choice when interacting. And we're offering a secure transport tools to export your account to any other wallets early next year. Yep. Thanks for that question.
Yeah, some really good questions here. I see a couple other ones around the mentioned blockchain operating system. So somebody asked, is the blockchain operating system unique and something that can be built only on Near and not on any competing alt layer 1 or ETH layer 2 solution? So Ilya, Alex, is that one that you'd like to address?
Yeah, I can take it if you'd like, Ilya.
Go for it.
Okay, great. Yeah, great question. So I think there are a few aspects to that. So the first is why can Near do this really well? First and foremost, it comes down to sharding, which we are years ahead of compared to other chains, and the ability to host front-end data like HTML and markup in fast transaction settlement, so as fast as a second, which is really required if you think of for high frequency front-end experiences. If you click a button, you expect a pretty quick response. That's pretty hard to do if your transaction's settling in minutes, right? Most people would consider that a poor quality user experience. So I think that's a major thing. The second major thing is the account model. And so with our access keys and the fast auth framework that Jane mentioned, like we believe there's a way for us to use that and some other things to be revealed around unique identifiers to actually have people be able to onboard faster than even on Web 2 via like a biometric or something. So, those two things together, create a framework where we could actually have, NEAR being the front end and a quick start layer for easy experiences that then work actually with any blockchain there afterwards. So you could do this and then have transactions settle on Ethereum for the actual like financial transactions that you might do. So we feel pretty good about our positioning on that and being kind of like a general layer that any chain could use based off of like what makes NEAR special.
Awesome. Thank you so much for addressing that. It's definitely been asked a couple of times. There's definitely been a couple questions around NEAR discovery, blockchain operating system, so much appreciated. One other question that I see here around wallet is somebody asked, is there a plan to support any other physical devices other than Ledger?
Yes, thanks for the question. So it is on our roadmap to support other physical devices, and we're working with the wallet builders to support hardware wallets. I believe there will be announcements about hardware wallets sometimes next year. So please stay tuned. Thanks for the question.
All right, thank you for that. So it actually looks like in the meantime, Matthias was able to go ahead and connect. Your mic is muted, Matthias, but if you'd like, you can go ahead and ask your question.
Yeah, hello, good afternoon. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear.
All right, great. So thank you for the opportunity to participate. My question is around funding, actually. So I'm just wondering what measures will be taken to prevent any bad actors from becoming key decision makers in this new community-run fund, namely the DAOs, and also how will these DAOs ensure a proper due diligence process when it comes to reviewing projects and teams? Because I think we have seen, well, especially this year, enough scammers and charlatans in positions of power who just seem solid, but irresponsibly use other people's money, or, well, in our specific scenario, will have access to funding money. So perhaps anybody can comment on what's the accountability for these organizations later down the road. Thank you.
It's a good question. I think it's a bit outside of the topic that kind of folks been wanting to hear, and we should probably have the people who are actually working on a governance working group to participate and give an answer. I can just respond from my perspective. I mean, the accountability, by doing everything transparently, having everyone to actually be public and building the structure, which there's a lot of work going into through the governance working group, is, they literally are building out the accountability framework for this. So I would say like the governance working group should follow up with the answer to this question and potentially do a separate AMA if like this is indeed interesting to the community to answer to these questions.
Yeah, Matthias, that was a really good question. What we'll do is we'll take this question, we'll capture this question, we'll go ahead and follow up on this with a good written answer and take it async.
All right, thank you. I know it's a tough question, but it has to be brought up at some point, especially with the pivot on strategy. I mean, namely, the NF was the governing body, so to say, that guaranteed some of this process were actually given the proper amount of time and dedication and due diligence. So sorry if it was a little bit off topic. I thought it was actually relevant to the discussion in general to go forward. But sure, sorry if I put you in a tight spot. I mean,
no, I mean, again, it's like it depends on specific. If we're talking about edge specific DAO, they have their own accountability frameworks and they have their own structure. So if we're talking about developer DAO, for example, I'm more familiar with, the way they work is actually by having the sponsors being detached from the DAO. So the sponsors are reviewing and also testers to be also detached. And so you have like different roles kind of contributing, participating, and then building up reputation over time, right? Marketing DAO operates very differently. Creatives DAO, I think it's still iterating on some of the structures. And then, broader NDC structure is in progress, and there's a lot of discussions on how exactly some of this stuff will work. So I just mean that it depends, and also it also will be like very function specific. But I think if you're specifically interested in developer stuff, then check out developer governance, because this is exactly the type of thing that will take over part of the grant process, at least when it's related to the open source and public goods on the engineering side.
all right, thank you very much.
Great, thank you so much, Matthias. Looks like we have one last written question that came through, and then what I'll do is I'll kick it over to Ben's to wrap up the last 15 minutes or so with live, since we took the written questions prior. So somebody asked, "Hello there. I may not be updated about a mobile wallet on Android. Is there one? Thank you very much." Trenton, do you want to take this one?
Yeah, we're tracking the different functionality that different wall builders are developing in the ecosystem. So based on that right now, I'm showing two specific mobile wallets. So it looks like both Sender and Finer are going to be supporting mobile apps, and its Nightly wallet is working on one as well. So you should see support for both Android and iOS here in the near future. And some of those, a couple of those, I think Sender and Finer are also available currently in those app stores.
All right, thank you so much. What I'll go ahead and do, like I said, I'll hand it over to Ben's to lead on the remaining live questions. So we do have several requests that we would try to get to as many as possible before wrapping up.
Great, thank you, Marcus. Yeah, of course. Again, I didn't have the chance to say thank you to everyone who's here today. We really appreciate, we really do. So yeah, as Marcus said, please request the microphone so we can champion the stage. And also, you can drop any questions related to the AMA's topic, my NEAR wallet, and NEAR's go forward strategy. So please feel free to request to speak and to drop your questions on the Twitter thread. I see in the thread many written questions regarding funding. We held an AMA with the grants team almost 3 weeks ago. So I would highly recommend everyone to head over there, and almost everything was covered there. So you will have a lot of context on how are we approaching, how the NEAR Foundation is approaching through grants. So yeah, I highly recommend that. And yeah, so please drop your questions, request to speak. We'll be happy to hear you and to answer you. All right, there I see a question from Luana. Thank you for asking. As part of To Go Forward strategy, what are the plans on community building in LATAM? We will address this async as our head of community, Shreyas, and all the team couldn't make to today's event, so we will address it with a high priority. And we will move over to my NEAR wallet. Shane, Trentin, do you guys have anything to clarify on that end?
Yeah, my NEAR wallet. So yeah, my NEAR wallet is currently without a formal owner. So the product will be offered to the community to maintain and to build the product. So we'll provide more details on this on the devgovgigs.near.social webpage and in an upcoming blog post. So we invite the community to submit your proposals to maintain my NEAR wallet if you're interested. So specifically more details, the wallet workgroup will review the incoming proposals and post an attestation to the proposal that they like. And then we'll have a security team do a separate review of the operations of the applicant and also post their attestation on that. And then finally, the NEAR Foundations will sponsor the selected applicant and then nominate the work group to oversee the work on my NEAR wallet going forward. So yeah, that's feel free to ask any additional questions on this.
Okay, so I can see any other questions being raised by the community here on the thread. So I think no, this will not addressed. So yeah, I think we are good. So we have 10 minutes left to the schedule. If anyone has any other question, please, you have the time right now. If not, we can just head over and wrap it up unless anybody here has anything else to add.
Definitely, everyone seems like getting ready for holidays.
Yep.
I'll answer one of the questions in the tweets here. Like, what are the grant funding priorities? We would love to work on things like ZKPs and verifiable credentials. So this is exactly where the developer DAO and developer governance are for. So actually, they are doing the zero knowledge work group, community group. So you should participate in that. And then they're including, I think, from your team, yourself already, an idea there. Proposal. So, kind of generally speaking, for this funding that will be coming from for developer DAO, for marketing DAO, etc., the idea is that these things are coming from the community, and so depending on what things are important for a community, those things will be getting funded. And as I said, like the ways that they evaluate importance differ from DAO to DAO, and the way the things are getting kind of reviewed. But you can see the details, and I think Developer DAO will be sharing more in the next few weeks on kind of how things work. But there's also a website you can check it out with like current work groups and community groups and proposals and flight, etc. So kind of all in all, the idea here is that the grants kind of transitioning to this more ecosystem level, community driven priority setting versus a kind of NEAR foundation defining priorities. And this is per all of you guys' feedback. So so please also participate now in this efforts, because this is how we build the ecosystem.
All right, thank you all for that. We have about 8 minutes left, so in light of wrapping things up, I'm actually going to go ahead and hand it off to Jane and Trenton, if you want to add any color here as well, just to wrap up on the NEAR wallet, which is the overall topic of the spaces, with any additional information that hopefully addresses other people's questions that maybe were unanswered or that were raised prior to the spaces.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for that. So, yeah, I just want to discuss the goal of wallet decentralization. So we want to thank the many community wallet builders for responding to the call earlier to participate in the wallet decentralization and for collaborating with our team on the wallet transition. So thank you for that. And so as we continue with the wallet transition next year, we want to reiterate that we're focused on turning the wallet.near.org into a user-centric wallet discovery portal where users have the ability to learn about different wallets in the ecosystem, to filter through these wallets by their features, and to select a wallet that they want to use. So eventually, wallet.near.org will become a page in the NEAR discovery. So that is the plan. And Trenton, if you want to provide some dates on that, I'll hand to you for now.
Yeah, thanks, Jane. So the first thing that we're working on is a transfer tool. We want to make it really easy for people to export their account and add it to another wallet. We're also going to be offering a feature therein where we can secure any locally stored private keys. We're going to get rid of those. We're going to help you secure your wallet to make sure that it's fresh when you do that. The transition wizard and functionality should be available towards the end of January in 2023. And then the landing page that Jane is talking about, we hope to have the first iteration of that ready by the end of March, so first quarter in 2023. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jane and Trenton. There was one last question that came in. I think it might be worth addressing and bringing up. Somebody asked, when dark mode on NEAR wallet?
So that could be a feature that we'll add in the future. Thanks for the feature suggestions, and please keep them coming. And definitely, if you haven't, please join our wallet community builder group on Telegram. And there we'll discuss features, functionalities, where we're looking to build best practice around security, user onboarding. So looking forward for more feature ideas, and see you on Telegram.
Thank you so much for that, Jane. Yeah, it's definitely something that's been raised multiple times before as well, so appreciate the color there. But yeah, everybody, thank you so much for joining. Some really great questions presented today via the community, both written and live. And these AMAs and spaces will continue going on into the new year. We'll release an announcement with dates coming back from into 2023. And again, really appreciate you taking the time being here. And I hope you all have a wonderful new year. And we'll see you soon.